I've seen a lot of my fellow white people saying, this isn't the America I know, in response to ICE raids. And the truth is, this is and has been America forever. Because this is the America that was created by colonizers who raped and pillaged indigenous communities. The America that enslaved Black people. The America that went to war with itself to keep Black people enslaved. The America that decided Black people were only considered 3/5 of a person. The America that caused the Trail of Tears. The America that implemented Jim Crow laws. The America that Nazis looked to for inspiration for their race laws. The America that turned away Jews at the beginning of the Holocaust. The America that forcibly relocated and incarcerated Japanese Americans. The America that demonized every Muslim person after 9/11. The America that blamed COVID on Asian Americans. The America that uses the prison system for forced labor. The America that celebrates police officers who kill Black people for the crime of existing. The America that is now kidnapping children, killing moms, and tearing families apart. This is the America we live in. The America that rewrites history to make ourselves the heroes, ignoring all the times we were the villains. So before you say, this isn't the America I know, this is the America you should know. And until we can all come to terms with the truth of America's history, we can never make meaningful progress.
Oh my God, I can't believe ICE is now killing people on the street. When did America become this way? I'm sorry, you're talking about the same America that murdered indigenous peoples and committed a whole entire genocide on them in order to establish themselves as a country. You're talking about the same country that had legalized slavery, that had slave catchers, the same country that forced and kidnapped indigenous kids and put them into residential camps, the same country that put Japanese people into internment camps. No, America has always been this way. You just have never connected the dots. ICE is an encapsulation of everything America has always been. Point blank, period.
People are finally starting to see America for what it has always been. And Black people have warned the world about the systems of oppression, about laws designed to keep them down, and about the violence inflicted on them simply for existing. And now, after the killings of 2 white people, some are beginning to wake up to the reality that has always been here all along, a reality that Black people have been living with every single day. So let's have a look.
You know, seeing so many white people today struggling with what happened yesterday in Minnesota, I want you to think about that for a second. Because that's what Black people in this country since 1619 have been treated like. Generation after generation after generation after generation. Whipped, beaten, put in trees on church and said we're a Christian nation. Having a clause in the Constitution that says you were only worth 3/5 of a white man. Paying municipalities in Charleston, South Carolina to chain their slaves and then to put salt in the wounds after they whipped them. Segregation, Jim Crow, not having the right to vote, having your great-grandparents put in a will, having your house redlined, having your house appraised at a different price, being called the N-word, not getting a job because your name might sound Black, having to give the talk to your kids for when a white cop pulls you over, you know, just because you might be a criminal. Now, I want you to think about your reaction to what happened yesterday in that context. Because too many of you people that are losing your shit over what happened yesterday are the same people that are unwilling to have that conversation with people in your own life. Because it's going to jeopardize your white privilege. You don't want to talk to your brother or your mom or your dad or your cousin or your uncle or your aunt because it's going to be weird next time I see them. Oh, they're going to unfriend me on Facebook. They may not come over for Thanksgiving. So what? Who cares? Are you going to take a stand, or are you just going to be complicit in what's happening in this country? This is what happened in Germany. First they came for the immigrants, but I wasn't an immigrant. Then they came for the Black people, but I wasn't Black. Then they came for the transgenders, but I wasn't transgender. And then they came for me. And too many people that look like me are waiting for that to happen. Michelle Obama told us last year in her speech at the DNC that if you think that your privilege will keep you safe from the darkness, if you think the darkness isn't coming to your doorstep, you are sadly mistaken. And the reason that we're still here in 2026 is because white people have not treated everybody else equal. And too many people that look like me haven't given a damn because it didn't affect them. Their family wasn't in a tree. Their family wasn't whipped. Their family wasn't put in somebody's will. Their family wasn't racially profiled. Oh, that's horrible, but I can't talk about it. I don't do politics. That is the very definition of white privilege. And it has nothing to do with how much money you make or what kind of house you live in or your financial status. Nothing. Zero. In fact, if you go look at the slave trade in the South and you look at some of the black population today, you're going to see it's very similar because of generational poverty. That's why white people burnt down Black Wall Street, because they saw black people getting wealth and they're like, no, we good. We don't want that. We just want to think that we're equal for all people, but we're really not. And you still cannot grasp your head around the MAGA Make America White Again. They couldn't stomach a black man in the White House instead of out in the fields picking their cotton. They would rather burn Rome to the ground than have the most qualified black woman in the history of our country be the president. That is a fact. And too many of you either ignore it or don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation in your life. You say you care, but you don't, because actions speak louder than words. I've lost friends. I've lost family. I've lost business to this. If I'm going to call myself a person of faith and say I love my neighbors as myself, that means all my neighbors, even the ones that I don't know, especially the ones that are treated differently, that don't look like me. So for you Christians out there that say you love your neighbor as yourself, you ask yourself that question today. Would Jesus be sitting around not worrying about upsetting Uncle Bob and Cousin Elmer and my mom and dad who voted for this man who assaults women? Or would he be out there protesting at the ICE raids? Would he be flipping tables over? Would he be on the halls of Congress? I know what my answer is. That dude be out there tearing stuff up. Are you going to be on the right side of history or on the white side of history? Because far too many of you are staying on the latter right now because of your privilege. Have a white day.
So you can't be a good white person and put your body in between them trying to kidnap a brown person or harm a black person. When you do that, you lose your proximity to whiteness and you lose the benefits that come along with it. That's the cost. We're all acting so shocked that they murdered a white woman. Well, see, she wasn't a good white. She was out there advocating for brown people, so she lost her proximity to whiteness. This is the work of dismantling white supremacy. This is what it's going to cost. It's time for some radical acceptance. Because they've been out there killing black and brown people for hundreds of years. And people who looked like me were having picnics under black bodies as they blew in the breeze after they'd been lynched. And then 6 years ago, when they kneeled on George Floyd's neck, we all put a black picture in our Instagram, acting as if that were enough. In order to dismantle white supremacy, we have to be willing to lose the benefits of whiteness. Means they kill us too. That's what that means. And it's time for some radical acceptance about that, guys. That's what it's going to take to dismantle white supremacy, is losing the benefits of the system. So we can't be so shocked as white people continue to die. Because we weren't this shocked when black and brown people were dying. Because we expected it. Not because we weren't grieving, but we expected it, right? You should expect it. We have to lose the benefits of the system. if we want to tear the system down. White supremacy has been killing black and brown folks. And it's not going to go down without a fight. So if you lose your proximity to white supremacy and whiteness, you will lose the safety that goes along with it.
The America that I once knew is gone. That's what I see people say online, especially young people. And I go, then you never knew your country. And I'm finding a lot of people never really understood or knew America. You didn't study your history, or you only understood the history that you were taught in school, which is actually propaganda, not real history. It was designed to make you docile, designed to make you compliant, to believe that the country that you live in is perfect, it cares about equality, cares about the life condition and the living condition of its citizens. None of that shit was ever true. It was all propaganda. You were taught if you work hard, you're going to grow up and you're going to be able to make a lot of money, or at least make decent money to support your family, and you won't have to burn the candle at both ends. All that shit was a lie. It was designed to just get you to continue to be compliant as you were moving through the system and growing up and moving through it. But the country, what you see America doing right now is exactly who America is. Quiet is kept technically. Technically, America's been cosplaying all this time. When you think about it, it's been a whole cosplay operation of pretending to be something it's not, pretending that it cares about its citizens, pretending that it's a democracy, when in fact, it's always been laying down for rich people and businesses. And now it's just at a point where rich people and businesses were running out of runway for making money. So now, what do? You buy government and you infuse yourself in it, and then you can get taxpayer money as much as you want without abandon. Now, keep in mind, these companies are already getting taxpayer money, but now they can really get it. Now they can really get it because they are America. They are everything we claimed that we weren't. But when I see that conversation about this is not who we are, where the fuck y'all been at, really?
The amount of white people that I see only posting about Renee and Alex and being like, oh my God, this could happen to us too. This is especially on Instagram, where like I have a lot of mutuals from Harvard and other like white liberal institutions that I've gone to throughout my life. They only started posting about ICE like this week. I am DMing them, wow, y'all care so much now. I don't even care that we're on the same side. I'm fucking pissed. They didn't care when it happened to my community. They didn't care when it happened to the black community, the native community, the Latino community. They don't fucking care about us. They don't see us as people. This is Hank Green's Instagram. These two posts that I circled, one was about Renee and one was about Alex Preddy. Not a single post about Chalfunga, Keith Porter, Paradila, Gerardo Lunas Campos. Didn't even post about the 6-year-old who was used as bait. I believe he was Hispanic. Hank, you're a children's author. A child was used as bait by ICE. And yeah, I know it only like really hits you when it affects your community, especially if you're white and you're raised that, you know, to believe that you're above all of this. ICE was an organization that was created to catch brown people. So you thought it wouldn't affect you. But Renee and Alex, you know, they're the good white people. They're the people who actually stand with us. Unlike you. ICE considers them race traitors. And I'm glad that you don't. I'm glad that you still embrace them as your community, because you need to be like them. Using your privilege and your skill set, in Alex's case, as a nurse, to be helping your neighbors. I don't know if it's because I'm neurodivergent, but I have never found it to just hit harder when it's like Asian people. If it's hitting Asian people, I'm like, oh shit, like I better be a little more careful. But in terms of emotional impact, I've been screaming, crying, throwing up since Trayvon. Trayvon was exactly my age. He reminded me of my friends. He was a kid and he was my age. He would be 30 years old right now if he hadn't been killed. And I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, I'm colorblind. No. I saw that he was a black kid and that being a black kid put his life at risk. And that pissed me the fuck off. I tried talking to other Asian people about Black Lives Matter. I was like 18 when I started being like really loud about it. And the amount of gaslighting and racist shit that I had to hear from older Asians, I would get so angry that I would have to go and cry in a corner. And it's crazy to me that as immigrant POCs, they didn't see that eventually race would come to haunt them too. Like America's race problem would get them too. When George Floyd and Breonna Taylor were murdered, summer 2020, one of my black friends on Facebook, a black man, posted that you have to ask yourself if you're okay with law enforcement murdering unarmed civilians on the street or in their homes.
Because that was what it was really about. It was about race, but it was also about, are you okay with law enforcement killing unarmed civilians? Even armed civilians without a trial. And non-black people were unable to see themselves as fellow unarmed civilians. We have needed to care about this from self-interest the entire fucking time. You look at how Native Americans got treated and are still treated. No real reparations for their genocide since then and to this day. It does make you wonder a little bit if this government actually cares about people. I was so upset summer of 2020 that I biked into the middle of my city to go participate in a protest. Because I figured, I'm a lighter skinned Asian. I'm not going to get as much grace as a white person at a protest, but I'm going to definitely get more grace than the black people. So I wanted to be there. It was the first time I had seen military tanks in my city. Helicopters, armored SUVs, National Guard. So in 2012, I got radicalized for the first time, really seeing how race in America worked. In 2020, I left any doubts behind that we lived in a militarized police state. And that summer was also the real summer I realized that it wasn't just about race. It was about, are you okay living in a militarized police state? And now it seems the rest of y'all are on board. If you're white and you're posting about Renee and Alex, good for you. I'm glad you're having this awakening, but please have some grace for the people of color, especially the black people, who are frustrated with you, who are telling you that you're late, who are saying you fight this now. A lot of y'all watch Chinese kids like me get told to go back to China. I got told back to China when I was 5 years old, and it never stopped. Do you think that any of this is new to me? Do you think that you telling me that you suddenly realize that we live in a militarized police state, do you think that's new to me? Do you think that this is my awakening too? You didn't read any of those books that black and Asian people told you to read in 2020, did you? You are why we're here. Even you liberal white people, you are why we're here. I'm gonna end this video before I say anything that'll get me canceled.
The truth is that America has never been blind. It has always seen. It has seen black people are being subjected to violence. Black voices are being silenced. Black communities are neglected. It has seen brown communities are neglected, brown lives criminalized, families torn apart, neighborhoods starved of opportunity. But for generations, the warnings of black people and marginalized communities were being ignored, are dismissed as exaggerations or even grievance. From the earliest days of slavery, when human beings were being stripped of their names, their identities, and their humanity, to the Jim Crow era, to the modern-day systems of mass incarceration, economic inequality, and police violence, this is not a new story. It is a story of structural oppression, meticulously crafted and maintained over centuries. It is America. It has always been. And yet for decades, black people have been screaming the truth. They have been telling the world that the systems are broken, that these laws are biased, that institutions do not protect all citizens equally. And still many, they refuse to see. Many, they pretended that injustice is blind. And now after the tragedy that hit those who are seen as outside the reach of oppression, people are beginning to understand, though sadly, only through the lens of pain. And let this be a wake-up call, not just to notice, but to act, to acknowledge the historical roots of injustice, to understand how inequality has been built into the very fabric of America. Black lives have been fighting for recognition, for justice, for humanity, and not because they want to seek vengeance. It is because they seek the truth, and the truth is what will guide them forward. So justice, it is not just a moment, it is a movement. Let us listen to voices of black people, those who have been shouting for generations, and honor those who have suffered, those who have resisted, and those who continue to fight for the promise of equality. Because the work does not end with recognition, Recognition is a first step, and action must follow. So until that happens, the warnings of black Americans are not just a history lesson. They are calls to arms for conscience, compassion, and justice. This is America we must face honestly, and not the one we wish existed. And only by facing it, we can only hope to create the America that truly serves all its people. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.